Hi Sedition community, welcome to today's video. So my name is Vlad, I'm the community manager of Sedition, and today I'm going to be interviewing Rory Blain, Sedition's director.
Hello.
I'm going to be asking some of the questions that you, the community, are very often asking about Sedition's upcoming NFT plans. And Sedition has made some major announcement at World Blockchain Summit Singapore this summer of 2022. And of course, we don't want the people who weren't there to feel left out. So that's why we're doing this. So Rory, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
I think before we get started, it's a good place for us to just introduce ourselves so people know who we are, who is talking, who are the people behind the screen. So would you mind telling a bit about your background, how you ended up running Sedition?
Certainly. Hi, my name is Rory Blain. I'm the director of Sedition. How did I get here? It's a long story. My career started out a little differently to, I think, what you might find for most people in either the tech or the art industry. Ultimately, I began work as a professional dancer, literally someone wearing ballet tights and tutus and that kind of thing and prancing across a stage, which I loved. It was great. So the performing arts was my first love. From there, I segued into literature, and I've always been involved in the arts in one form or another. But my brother had opened up a contemporary art gallery at this time, and I started working there on weekends. Over time, that became a full-time job, and I just segued into becoming a contemporary art dealer. Not the usual entry route, but that's how I ended up here.
Okay, that's cool. And let me do just a quick introduction also of myself. So my name is Vlad, I'm the community manager of Sedition, and my background is fairly different from a lot of my colleagues alongside whom I work in the front office of Sedition. In terms of, I didn't end up in Sedition having studied art like a lot of the people. I've actually studied business in school, and I've worked in a marketing department of a crypto exchange for about 3 years doing community management, business development, partnerships, etc. So that's largely where my background comes from. I've seen the crypto industry pretty much develop firsthand, having been in the industry since around 2019, way before institutional adoption, way before countries started making cryptos legal tenders, institutions buying like billions of dollars, so way before all of that, way before NFTs were mainstream, way before DeFi was mainstream. So I became very interested in what is there, NFTs, DeFi, very interesting stuff, and I wanted to engage with that part of the blockchain world. So I found Sedition's product to be very charming and fascinating, and that's why I joined Sedition about 6 months ago. And yeah, very happy about that. So we'll put the links under this video where you can follow our Twitter and LinkedIn accounts. And obviously all of Sedition's links are also below this video. And I think the one we want to point out the most is our Discord. Rory, why should our community join a Discord?
Well, we are stepping into the NFT space, and we'll be making most of the announcements about what we're doing across all our channels, but Discord will come first. If you want to get a first point in the queue and hear about what's coming up first up, then join the Discord server. It'll all be on there.
Awesome. Before we dive into the world of NFTs, would you tell me what Sedition's all about? What's the founding idea and what's the business?
Of course. Wow, it's a long question. Sedition was founded in 2011. The idea behind it was fundamental to our experience of the art world, really. Part of it was the idea of this democratization of art, the ability to deliver cutting-edge contemporary artworks by the most famous and celebrated creators of our day. I mean, literally the Monets and Picassos of today's generation, and bring them to an audience that normally has been priced out of that market. By making digital limited editions, a work by Tracy Emin and similar figures can be something that's as affordable as $50 as opposed to $500,000. That was one big aspect of getting it there. The other aspect actually was to enable the artists to grow an audience. Throughout my career, artists have always been caught between the rock and a hard place of selling their work to one or two very rich individuals who can support their practice and look after them, or the preferred option of having it on a wall or a museum or a gallery where everyone can see it, but they're probably not going to get paid as much for it. So hopefully Sedition will get to square that circle slightly. It allows artists to reach a very wide audience and still get fairly paid for their work.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. There's certainly many more art lovers in the world than there are billionaires, because when we're talking about prices like a price of a brand new apartment or mansion in London for a piece of art, it prices a lot of people out of the market. So you've mentioned the founding idea of Sedition, but what exactly is the business of Sedition?
We are ultimately here to present art and artists to as wide an audience as possible. There are a number of, it's a one-stop shop. An artist should come to Sedition and set up an account there, and they can put themselves in front of a very wide and very dedicated global art audience without having to sign your life away, without having to restrict your practice or where you're selling things. We think that's fundamental. So for Sedition, you come on, the very first thing you see as an artist is the ability to put your work there and sell it to our audience as digital limited editions. The next step on behind that is going to be licensing. Those artworks on the site can be used by corporations and commercial interests, but it's got nothing to do with the price you see on the webpage. They need to buy a public display license, which we negotiate between them and the artist, and the fees for that are usually much higher. Behind that is a subscription service. There's a very large and growing demographic out there who are what we call the Spotify generation. You pay a small sum and you have access to everything. You can do that on Sedition too. We still underpin the collecting model in that when you're a subscriber, you have access to every work on the site as long as it's not sold out. When it sells out, it'll disappear from subscription. Behind that, of course, we're now adding extra irons in the fire as well. We do commissions, not a huge amount, maybe 5 to 10 physical and digital commissions every year. And now that we're adding NFTs onto the site, the artists will have that as an additional revenue stream too.
Okay, so now we've come to NFTs, and that's the main topic of today's discussion. So why is Sedition introducing NFTs?
The short answer to that is because we were asked to. We've been looking at this space for some time. It's obviously ideally suited for what we do as a company. The artists that we work with and many of the collectors that we work with were interested in this and were constantly asking if we were going to support it. It is something we've wanted to do. There were a few concerns that held us back to begin with, but we're stepping into this space now.
Of course, it totally makes a lot of sense, because few art galleries would be able to work if you buy a piece, but you aren't able to, take it home with you or something.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, that's kind of what NFTs and the decentralized blockchain really does. It allows you to take away true ownership of digital assets. Sedition, previously, what we set up was our own version of NFTs. It was all contained under the Sedition umbrella. This worked very well and has worked very well for the last 10, 11 years. But the decentralized system is simply better. It's transparent. It doesn't require on a single company to exist. If a band of vengeful aliens comes down and blasts Sedition off the face of the earth, NFTs, the blockchain, your artworks, they will all still exist independently of us. This is simply a better system.
Okay, I think a question a lot of people have is, okay, so now it's summer of 22. We're in the midst of probably the worst crypto bear market in the history of crypto. And crypto has seen some funny bear markets, let's put it that way. So perhaps the question is, why is Sedition stepping now when we're really in the middle of a bear market, or some saying in the start of the bear market?
I'm trying to think of a diplomatic way of saying we don't care about the bear market.
I think you can just say we don't care about the bear market.
Realistically, the reason that Sedition is stepping into this is it's a far more long-term position. There are some wonderful advantages for the artists, the arts community in crypto and blockchain, and NFTs provide a resale value for artists on their work. So if an artist's work accrues in value over the years and then it gets resold, the artists are no longer excluded from that. They'll get a fair percentage each time it's resold. These things are fundamental and game-changing to the way the art market works at the moment. So these are reasons that we want to be in this space.
Okay, so ultimately Sedition doesn't really care that the prices of these assets go up and down, and
I mean, obviously we care. When you have an exposure to cryptocurrency, then you're certainly going to care whether it's going up or down. But it really depends on what your purpose is. If your purpose is to speculate and make money, then obviously you're watching that like a hawk and seeing every movement that it does. That's not really our purpose at the moment. Our purpose at the moment is to decentralize the system, to allow true ownership of digital assets, to reward the artists for the accrual in value of their work or the depreciation in value of their work. The exposure to cryptocurrency is very much a side effect, not the main purpose of what we're doing.
Fair enough. But if that's the case, why has Sedition not introduced NFTs before? Because NFTs have been on everyone's radar for, let's say, at least a year now. That's
quite a lot longer than that in our case.
Yeah, of course, in the case of Sedition, quite a lot longer. But let's put it that way: NFTs have been mainstream for about a year now.
So the reason for that is the only blockchain that we really want to align ourselves with, the one that we think most suits our purposes, is Ethereum. Ethereum it's got good depth in the marketplace, good liquidity, there are good price points there, their smart contracts are quite mature, the whole thing operates very well, it's a good marketplace. The problem is it operates on something called a proof of work mechanism. Now, without getting technical, largely because I can't, I'm not a tech, but basically the proof of work mechanism essentially uses an awful lot of computing power and lots of energy resource to make it all happen, which is very bad for the planet. In Sedition's case, we have something in the region of 1 million artworks there. If we put all that onto the blockchain with all of that computing power and energy resource, that's a potential disaster. We don't want to do that, our artists don't want us to do that, no one wants us to do that. So we've been looking at this for a long time, waiting for what's called a shift from proof of work to something called proof of stake. Now again, without getting technical, what this means is simply it removes that computing, processing, energy resource power and makes it a much more eco-friendly version. That's now happening. Ethereum was the blockchain that we liked. Ethereum was a proof of work blockchain. They are now shifting to proof of stake. In fact, they're announcing that imminently. We're filming this now in the summer of 2022, and we're expecting that shift any moment now. So Sedition's initial NFTs are, as you can see, happening on a proof of work blockchain, but very, very limited. We're making use of maybe 100 to 150 of the NFTs at the moment out of the 1 million or so available. Once that shift to proof of stake happens, then we've got access to everything.
The big question is, so this summer, at World Blockchain Summit, Singapore, Sedition has made large announcements about introducing NFTs. Would you give a quick summary? What exactly is it that is being launched? Because it's not traditional NFTs, let's put it that way.
No, this is true. We have to do a slightly different process here. Sedition predates every other company in this space, NFT companies, blockchain companies. We were around before any of this. So on Sedition, most of the artworks that are there at the moment are standard digital limited editions, and many of those have already been sold and are sitting in people's vaults in their collections. So we wanted to enable people who have already been collectors and supporters of Sedition over the years. We're enabling them to engage with that first of all. So the first thing we're doing is putting a mechanism that allows you to mint your artworks that you've collected from your vault. Now this is the collector, the owner, not the artist. So ultimately, the collector can choose which artworks are there, click on the button, and go through and mint it on the blockchain with a Sedition smart contract. Now, importantly, the Sedition smart contract will forever and always identify the author and originator, the artist of the work. It will identify all the parameters of what the work is, all the details you'd expect to see there. The owner is only listing himself as an owner. So he has the ability to say, I own this piece as of this date, which I bought for this much money, and I'm now going to sell it on this place for this much money. That's what the owner gets out of this. The artist is the author, the originator, and also the artist gets a fair resale value every time that's sold in the future.
Okay, so just to clarify, so the artworks that have been bought historically sitting in people's vaults, there is now a mechanism that they can be turned into NFTs and traded on an open market such as OpenSea.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And what's next?
Well, the next stage, what we call phase 2, right now you can mint artworks from Vault. Again, we're doing that piecemeal, just choosing 1 or 2 artworks initially. We're not doing it for all of the artworks on Sedition until we're happy with that shift to the proof of stake mechanism. The next step is something that's called lazy minting. This ultimately means that when you come to the site and you buy an artwork fresh at the source, it's never been sold before, you can choose at the point of sale to mint it as an NFT. This means you can buy those artworks with cryptocurrency, mint it as an NFT right at the point of sale, and it will also allow for artists to come with already minted NFTs and drop those on the site as well.
Okay. And then this question, the last question, is a very pure crypto crowd question, let's put it that way. You know, crypto, the favorite crypto word probably of this decade is token. Everyone talks about tokens and coins and everything. So is ever going to be Sedition coin?
That is our intention, yes. Ultimately, this will be phase 3. Sedition will be introducing a coin, a token. The idea here very much is to reward our early collectors and our early patrons and the people who are stepping in and using our new NFT functions as well. So if you're one of the early adopters for the NFT minting process or one of the early collectors on Sedition and you've been a regular patron of the arts for us for years, we intend to reward you with some tokens.
That's nice. Great for the community to know that for sure. And I think that pretty much sums up the NFT plans. So do you have anything to share about just general Sedition plans? What you feel about the future of Sedition and digital arts and what to expect of Sedition in the future come end of 22, 23, not just in NFTs, but in general across the board?
Of course. I think the most exciting project that we've got going on at the moment, and this will probably come as a slight surprise, since 2011, we've spent our entire time making everything completely digital. There's nothing physical. Everything is a purely online process. But oddly enough, one of the things I'm stepping towards now is a shift towards the physical domain. In my experience as an art dealer and an art lover, there's no experience like standing in a well-curated, well-contextualized exhibition of works. If you're looking at Sedition artworks, people usually encounter them on your phone. That's the organizational aspect of it. But this is like baseball card collecting. If you want to enjoy it as an artwork, you should throw it up on a proper size screen on your wall. If you really want to get the impact for it, make an exhibition or a collection, several pieces that interact with each other, that juxtapose and complement each other. Immersive exhibitions, I don't know, many of you may have seen things like Team Lab now have fully immersive exhibitions in permanent sites around the world. You may have seen the Van Gogh digital exhibition. These exhibitions are hitting new records in attendance and audience figures for a reason. It's marrying up the technology that people like Sedition have with the traditional modes of art viewing and art discovery that we've always had. And it works. It's exciting. It's engaging. There is no replacing the impact you have from standing in a space like that. We're very lucky. Sedition has a permanent display space in Berlin. We're looking at renting a space in Paris at the moment, and there's several spaces in London that we're talking about. The idea is that we'll invite Sedition artists to do monograph exhibitions and group shows in these spaces as fully immersive digital exhibitions. Projections, LED walls, screens, holograms, all of this, but as a physical space that you can go to and visit.
Okay, that certainly sounds very exciting. And I think this pretty much sums everything up. I think we've had a very good discussion. Do you have anything to add?
Not at all. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you continue to enjoy the site and don't hesitate to reach out to us if there's anything we can help with you.
Thank you so much, community. Do follow us on social media, do join our Discord server, and indeed, like Rory said, ask us any questions you have. We'll be happy to answer them. Thank you again, and see you next time. Stay tuned with us.